Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back to Let's Make a Coffee Table Book. I think this is week 4, not positive. It'll be in the description. You'll know by the time you open this up. So today I wanted to start on one of our first pages, and for me the first page is going to be what was your favorite game? Because in our house as a child, and even when my children were growing up, games were a really big thing. I have over 100 board games, and there's not anything electronic to them. They're just board games and they're fun. And so my thing is that's going to be a big thing in my household and with my family, because that's what we did a lot, was play board games. Now I have here some different things that I have been collecting. I lost one thing I wanted to show you. Oh, it's right here on the chair. My table is so full. But when I used to go to the Goodwill warehouse, which is where they just throw stuff in bins, they did not put their puzzles, like they didn't tape their puzzles shut, they didn't tape their games shut, and people would grab the games and just toss them across the table because they were in a hurry to dig to the bottom of these bins, and they would open up and everything would go everywhere. So when that happened, I would collect those bits and pieces. So like I have some, I couldn't find the whole game, but I do have some Monopoly cards. And every time that I went, I would collect Monopoly money. And I would put Monopoly money just in these old CD cases. I would get these at the Goodwill warehouse too. Because people would take whatever was inside out of them because you paid by the pound. To me, that didn't make a whole lot of sense, but that was okay because I wanted this anyway. So, of course, I would have kept the CD too because I craft with those. But so I just picked up a CD holder and I just collected the money and put them in here as I got it. And so I have those to craft with. Now, things like Monopoly money and Monopoly game pieces and stuff, you shouldn't copy these because they're copyright. But I use the originals because I figure I bought this, it belongs to me, I can use it. I don't know if that's correct or not, but it's what I do. But I don't copy them. And so that's one thing to remember is if your friend says, ooh, copy me some, you probably don't want to do that. So I just went through and I have like game cards. And so originally I would go through the games as I waited there. My sister would come and stay with mom and dad for a little while, and I would go to the Goodwill warehouse. And so to me, I was going to spend 4 or 5 hours there. I didn't care how long. I just stood around and counted game pieces. And I would open up a game and I would look through on the instructions and find out what it needed to have. I would count everything. If it was all there, I kept it. If it wasn't, I put it back. And then I started crafting with some of these things and thought, oh, I don't care if it's all there or not. So then I would just put them in my cart and buy them and count them when I got home. But so I wound up with a lot of game boards. I would always grab game boards because, man, this is nice, heavy cardboard. And these are all cut up because I used these to make some. I got this also at the Goodwill warehouse. This was a photo book, and so it came like this. So this is how it was put together. There's a piece of cardboard here, piece of cardboard here, and a piece of cardboard here. Those were all put together. Then this is what I call a Chicago screw. That's what we called them for our horse tack. So I don't know what they really are, but I think that's what they are. So anyways, this is it goes through all the way to the other side. It has like a bar, an empty hollow tube, and then at the other side, this part is a screw that screws into that empty hollow tube. And so this is exactly how this book came, but I thought I could make those. And this book was this large, and it was completely full of these picture holders. So I decided it was the perfect size to hold my embossing folders. And so I just put in as many as would fit without overdoing my book and took all of the rest out. So, and then I decided I wanted to make myself some of these books, and I have quite a few of them. So here is the one that I made for myself. So I just covered it with paper. Again, 1, 2, 3 pieces of cardboard. My paper wasn't long enough to go the whole way, and so it only got covered to here. I didn't care. And my Chicago screws I put in the other way. So the solid tube is on the bottom coming up, and then I screwed these in at the top. And I used game boards to do this because they're so nice and heavy. So that's what I did with those. And then this is like embossing folders, and there's like hard dies to go with them. So we've got the die to cut it out after we emboss it. And so I just put those in there, but it worked really well. So I just kind of wanted to show you that because that's a nice way to store things. And, you know, just to remember that you can make your own storage. That was a perfect size for those. So, you know, and all I paid for was this one at the Goodwill Warehouse. It was, you know, like probably 59 cents or something. And I got all of the sleeves to make these. And I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, I believe I made 10 of these with the plastics that came in just this one, and then old cardboard. So remember to, you know, look at things a different way. So the most expensive part of that probably would have been the 2 Chicago screws to hold it together. But so I wound up with these were all my extra little pieces. So we've got this Sorry, Monopoly, Scrabble. I'm not even sure what this game was, but I want to put these in my What's Your Favorite Game. And so I'm going to do a collage in my book with all of these bits. I pulled out some cards. Whether I'll collage those in or not, I don't know. But I also pulled them out to cover one side with paper so that would make a perfect journaling card. Put paper on the back and leave the front so it can be seen. And so there's just all sorts of cards here. And this one, they're not all here, so I thought that would be cute to put in there because you want to have some kids' games too. And so what I'm going to do is, with these boards, because I obviously am not going to put this on the page in my book to do a collage, I am going to try and remove, and especially with these old boards, because, you know, they used to make things to be used and to last. Nowadays, I don't know that, you know, they don't just make them to get the kids to want them, and, you know, they don't even expect that the kids will use them. Okay, so I've ripped it here a little bit. That's okay. I may not use the whole piece anyways, but I'm going to go in and start from the other side. There we go. And just easily and carefully remove that. Now this is still a really nice piece of cardboard, and I probably will keep it for other construction. I got to the bottom here and ripped it a little more. There we go. Nope, rip that whole piece off, and that's okay because, you know, we could put something right over top of that or not use the whole thing. And like I said, I don't know what this game is, but somebody that comes over and signs my coffee table book, this might be their favorite game. So you never know. It doesn't have to just be games that you know or games that were your favorite. So, but I definitely want to try and take the Scrabble one off and the Monopoly one off because those were some of my favorite games. But yeah, this is like heavy, heavy, heavy cardstock. And you're going to want, you know, just take your time, you know, just maybe sit in the evening and do this. I also peel playing cards this way. You can usually peel a playing card in half. You just have to be careful. And some of them don't work. And so you just have to chalk that up to, well, that one didn't work. But a lot of times if you're doing a collage, you're not going to do a totally square piece anyways. So I'm going to like peel a bunch of these things and keep them. And then I'm going to collage them in my book. Even here. These cards are layered paper, so you can go ahead and separate them just so that they're not so thick in your book. You just want to put things that are not quite so thick, but also you have one side and you have the other side, and both sides would be fun to put into your collage. I'll have to see if I have part place and put that in there. So those are the types of things I'm going to put in there. I have this bridge game that I got at the Salvation Army for 59 cents. I got this whole game for. So we've got the cards. I don't know how to play bridge. It's not my favorite game because I don't know how to play it. But I thought it would be really cute. Oh, now this is awesome. We've got some regular scorecards here. But to me, this is really the kind of scorecard that I want to put in there. So that's going in there. And I was going to get just a regular one, but I could even put this in there where it says bridge, and it's love this. I might just put this in here because I might save this for a different page. But, and again, like I said, with your playing cards, you know, if you just take your time, you can split your playing cards and peel them just like I did with the Monopoly card. The playing cards are normally not quite as thick. The older they are, the thicker they are. And usually one side is heavier than the other when you peel them apart. They don't peel even, like, I don't know how to say that, but one side's thicker than the other. And you just have to get it started. And sometimes a little X-Acto knife might help. And so then you're just going to, now in this case, the heavy part is going to be the back. I can see that. And so the front is very, very thin. So you're going to want to really take your time and just do this slowly and making sure that you keep those edges moving. I find that if I try and go on an angle, it seems to work a little better. And then just keep going till you get that whole piece off. Then that's going to be a nice thin piece of paper. It also is going to have a great backing to glue to your book. So that's what I'm going to do with the book. I don't have time to actually do the collage today, and I am sorry about that. Again, I want to give you the construction for the book because I just don't necessarily have the time to sit and do everything here on camera. But we can do this together and you can take your time doing it. So that's the biggest thing. So here's a bunch more cards. Now, I might peel these or peel a few of them, or I might just sand the back a little bit because they're plastic coated, so I want the glue to stick. Sand off the back a little bit and put paper on there with some lines so they can be used for journaling cards. And so in my game section, I want my journaling cards. You know, I made some like this that I said, you know, like I'll decorate the back of them and put them in the book for people to journal on. And that's perfect for lots of the other sections. But for my game section, I want to use cards and game cards and that type of thing for people to make my journaling cards for people to journal on the back. So, and these types of cards with the pictures on them, when I was young, we used to play a game called Peanuts. And basically, it's solitaire with a whole lot of people all at the same time. You put your aces out in the middle when they come up. You do 3 cards, turn them over. Oh, there's an ace. That's funny. You take your ace, you put it out in the middle, and you have your 11 cards face down with 1 up here, and then you have 4 cards face up here, and you can go black, red on those going down like 7, 6, 5. And then if you have the 2 of diamonds out here anywhere or in your, when you flip it, you put them out in the middle. Well, I'll tell you one thing, when you've got like 7 people doing this at the same time, you have to be really careful because somebody's fingers are going to get jammed for sure as you're both going out there to put that 2 of diamonds out. But when we were little, every year for Christmas, we got a deck of cards. And my children all the way through the years have always got a deck of cards every year for Christmas too. But it was fun because we used to get these types of cards. They were all different because when you play Peanuts, you can't do the same deck of cards for everybody. Every deck of cards has to be different because once you get all those cards out in the middle, you get a point for everyone you get out there. And so they have to be able to be separated. So you flip them over and then you separate them by that's yours and that's mine and that's Susie's, and you know, and so you have to separate them and everybody gets to count how many they got out in the middle. So whenever I see these kind of cards, whether the whole deck's there or not, I take them because I love them. They remind me of my childhood, and you don't see them that often anymore. You know, now most of them just look like this in some way, shape, or form, which is nice, but I still love the old picture ones. So they're definitely going to get some of those in my book. And games. They don't have to be games you play with someone. They can be games you played by yourself. Crossword puzzles and that type of thing. I like the fill-ins. Never liked the crosswords. I wasn't good at all the questions. But I loved the fill-ins where you had to figure out those are the words, but they all just go in there somewhere. Love this. So, and I picked this one. This is the one I want because this says Seuss on it. And I love Dr. Seuss too. So anyway, so that's going in my collage. So I'm going to collage paper to go in here. Now I'll show you how, let me move our, and something else, this I got at the Goodwill warehouse, just parts of a game. But anyways, remember the spinners. I loved the spinners. This I am going to try and cut it into 4 pieces, and I'm going to peel one of these, and it is going to go, I'm going to put it back together, put the spinner on it, even though the spinner's not going to work like this. The spinner's a little thick, but I am going to peel it off the heavy cardboard, and this is going to go in the collage because I loved the spinners as a kid. Loved to get a game that had spinners. And I'm going to collage it all together with water glue. 2 parts white glue to 1 part water instead of Elmer's, or instead of Mod Podge. So here's what we did last week. I've decided I'm not doing this cover page to start because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a few of maybe the game pieces up here, and then whatever the next page is, a few of those types of whatever images I'm putting in that section, I might put a couple of those up here. So this will be a collage of the whole book. And then here it will say coffee table book. I haven't decided exactly. So here is how our sign-in spot turned out. So I've got all my papers in there. I put leave your mark. And then because when you leave your mark, it's an X, I decided to put an X and no on each end. And so then I put who, so they could put their name here, why they came, and when they came. So I left a little extra room here. So we've got enough room to put a name, then enough room to kind of put the explanation, and when it can be just a short date, so that could just be right at the end. Tip, I put this too close to the edge of the paper. Probably some of you were sitting there going, your paper's never going to fit in there. So when I punched the paper and went to put it on there, fit just fine, no problem, until I went to close this. I needed the space for the paper that's behind the thing. So you need to, however you're going to sew it in, move it out just a little bit so that you can poke your holes. I went ahead and I cut close to the holes. And because this is not something that's going to be, this part of it, you know, it's not going to be gone through like over and over, whatever. I don't know how to say that. It'll be fine. I'll fold the pages. And it will be fine there. I also numbered them before I punched the holes. Well, that didn't work very well because, and actually I should have moved them out because of this, because I can't see these numbers, but people can figure that out. But yeah, so make sure that you, however you're going to hook it in, make sure that your paper will still, you'll have room between your hole and the edge of your paper so that it doesn't rip out super easy, especially if you're going to tie it with thread. So, but we have that part of our book is now done. So this is going to be our first page, and I'm going to do this whole spread as what was your favorite game. So, because that's a big thing in our family, I think that this one will get done a lot. I want to have a lot of cards in here for people to fill out. I want to have a lot of space, and I have a lot of things I want to put in here. But you know, we can still see through this a little bit. And so what I want to do is, I don't want to gesso this again. So what you might want to do, I think I'm going to cover the whole thing, so it's not going to matter. My stuff's going to stick to the gesso that I have there. But if you think I only want to put a few things, I don't want it to be a busy background, excuse me, then just take some of your watercolor paper that we made in the Build Your Stash series and just glue a piece of that down, so that covers the whole page, and then you can glue your collage to that if you want to. So it's going to make your book a little bit thicker, but that's okay. Or if you want, you can paint this again with gesso, or you can just make sure that you cover the spots that are showing, if you know, however you want to do it. But yeah, if you don't like all of that in the background, just glue a piece of paper in. Or another thing, as you're going through this book, if it's coming along and you're loving the book and you're afraid to start just doing a collage right on this piece of paper, you want to collage the whole thing. Just use regular white paper and collage the whole piece of white paper. Get it how you want it, and then glue that piece of paper into your book. You know, if you're afraid that, oh, you know, I'm almost done with the book and I'm afraid that, you know, I'm just going to like mess this up and it's perfect so far. It's just how I like it. They're never perfect and they're not supposed to be. So homemade is not supposed to be perfect, but you know, you have it and you love it and you're afraid as you're getting down to the end, you're going to mess it up, or right from the start. Go ahead and collage on a piece of paper. Do the whole piece of paper and then take that one piece of paper and glue it into your book. And then you will have it there and you'll know what it looks like before you stick it in your book. So that is, and also if your book is too big to handle and you want to maybe do it somewhere where you have less space, it's another easy way to, you only have to have this much space. So, and once you get it all in there, once you collage it or however you're going to put it together, you do want to make sure that you put in a few, pages of your book. I'm just going to leave all these extra pages in here because it holds my book, you know, kind of level, or however I want to say that, so it has something to push against. But once you get it all done, stick a piece of parchment paper in there. Even if you feel like it's dry, stick a piece of parchment paper in there, close it all up, and stick something heavy on top. And that way, you'll just kind of keep it nice and flat, let it really, you know, like settle, and then you can take it off. If you just use regular like Elmer's glue or school glue from the Dollar Tree or Walmart or whatever, this dries very nicely. I've never really had a problem with it, the pages sticking together. Mod Podge, on the other hand, or however you say that, I have had problems with that sticking together. If I put it in a book like this, especially if I put it in and let it sit for a long time, somebody goes to open it up and it's kind of like, and sometimes parts of these pages stick to each other, you know, they rip. So I personally don't use that. Now, they do have one, I think they call it paper, and that one might be what you should use to do a book. I haven't read about it because I've used water glue since I was a little kid because it was cheap. And so, but that is just a thing. You want to make sure that until it's really, really dried and cured, really, make sure that you put something between your pages and then put something heavy on top. That will also help flatten it out a little bit. I don't mind texture. I actually kind of like texture, but it just depends on what you're going for. So that's what we're going to do this week. I'm going to collage this background with lots of different game pieces and that type of thing. And on this one, I'm going to put a header at the top that says, what's your favorite game? And so that's what I'm going to, and see, I don't have much time to craft like I used to. So this will take me all week. And that's why the videos are kind of coming out this way. I keep thinking, oh, I'm just going to get in there and I'm going to do this, you know. I even have a hard time finding the time to actually like sit and do the whole thing. So it's like I can get in and maybe do just a little bit and then get in and do a little bit more. And I don't have the ability to like glue the pieces together. I used to way back when, but I don't anymore. And so at this point in time, I have to do the whole video at once. And so I have to decide what's best to show you. And I think the best thing to show you is what I got together and how I'm going to start and what I'm going to do. And then you have the whole week to do the same thing. You have the whole week to sit and just do a little bit here and a little bit there, not trying to get it all done at once. And I think I've given you all of my tips and hints. And if I come up with any others as I'm going through it, I will let you know next week. Now, that might be too late, but you'll know it for next time. And I'll know it for next time. Because obviously, if it's going to be a tip or hint I haven't already told you, it's something I didn't think about and I messed up. And so then I'll tell you, like punching the holes too close to the edge. But thank you very much for stopping by. I hope that you're having fun making your book. I am enjoying just the thought of doing this book. And this week is going to be very fun for me. So, because this is such a big thing in our family. So, thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.